there is a new project called Shura TV, where we are looking to educate, entertain, and be the leading voice for our Muslim American brothers and sisters here in America and bring awareness of change established by Muslims. Whether it is a global change, innovative change, leadership change, or community change, and by supporting the Muslims and the community at large. Shura TV is going to bring innovative ideas and projects to your homes. Our vision is one. We are Shura. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, we are here at Shura TV, and on behalf of the Islamic Shura Council of Southern California, we want to welcome our community leaders, Sheikh Jameel Besada and Sheikh Obair Katchi. We want to thank you both for being here with us for this community-wide message that we want to give to our community here in Southern California and the greater community at large. Now, since we're in the month of Ramadan and Ramadan has started, I wanted to ask the question from Sheikh Jameel. Just very simple question, but this is a question that has been asked even when in time of pandemic. As this crisis took place, people are asking, can we pray behind our imams? Can our imams give khutbas? One of the questions that I had specifically during the month of Ramadan, like what are some ways we can stay connected to our local communities without being able to attend nightly taraweehs or trying to come to the masjid, right? Prior to this pandemic, we were at the masjid, we were meeting friends, we knew the exact time when Taraweeh prayer would start. Now everything seems that it's upon us now, and how can we proceed in times of this?
Jazakumullah khaira, Brother Wali, for inviting myself onto this program. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and your family. So that's a great question. Me personally, when this whole COVID-19 thing started, I never really realized how important the act of ijtima' and the act of congregating, was such a fundamental part of our religion, right? We congregate for daily prayers, and we congregate for Jum'ah, we congregate for Hajj, we congregate for walimas and aqiqas, and you don't really notice and realize how day to day this concept of congregating and getting together is actually built into our religion. And so to kind of have that suddenly kind of stripped away kind of leaves you wondering, okay, well, what do we do now? So staying connected to our local communities without physically being present and engaging in congregation is something that I think is on a lot of people's minds. And so the first, when it comes to connecting with communities, I think we need to realize that communities are in layers, right? So the first layer of community that we have is the community in our own home, right? And so before we want to expand outside and connect somehow with, our local community, what steps are we taking to actually connect with the community at home? So the first thing that I would recommend is for individuals at home to try to establish in this month of Ramadan some type of shared meaning or value. I know Ramadan has just started, so this is a great opportunity to plan and still figure out, what you as a family want to do. Do you want to read chapters of the Quran together? Do you want to read a book of hadith together? Do you want to memorize together? What is something that all of you can share at the same time? And now that, with social distancing in place and the majority of people staying at home, it's a lot easier to coordinate times for the family to get together and to do something meaningful and to actually spend time with one another. It's funny because I just got off the phone recently with one of the youth here in SoCal, and they were complaining to me how it's so incredibly difficult staying home and how they're such a, they're socially outgoing and they're a social butterfly, and it's just very, very difficult to be at home for such an extended amount of time. And the interesting thing is that, the trials of today, right? The trials that we are experiencing today, the fitna that we're experiencing today with regards to staying at home are actually blessings that we're going to have, that are going to be experiencing in the future, right? We're going to wish that we had the ability to stay at home. We're going to wish that we had the ability to spend more time with our families. I mean, that's something that I'm sure you experienced yourself, right? Before this whole thing happened, is how do I make more time to spend at home with my family? And now we're kind of forced to be with our families. And now we're complaining about that, subhanAllah. So the interesting thing is that, you know, what we are experiencing today from tests may very well be blessings that we wish that we could have down the road. So the first thing that I would recommend is spending time with the community that you have at home, with the family at home. The second thing that I would suggest now, so if we're going in layers of community, the layer above that is the community that lives immediately around you, right? Your neighbors. And so how are we connecting with our neighbors? I know that I'm not suggesting that we go over and spend time with them at their houses, but at the same time, are we calling on them? Are we checking upon them? Are we making sure that they don't need anything? If we are going to the store, are we asking them if they need anything so that they don't have to go out to the store? If our neighbors are elderly, are we following up on them and making sure that they have what they need during this increasingly difficult time? And remember that the Prophet ﷺ said, أحسن إلى جارك تكن مؤمنا. Be good to your neighbor, and as a result, you will be a believer. Like, from the epitome of the qualities of the believer is that they are good to their neighbors. So always remembering that to offer services to our neighbors and to keep track with them and keep in touch with them and to make sure that they're doing okay. And then I guess what your initial question was of how do we stay related to the community, the Muslim community as a whole. I think this is a great opportunity to check out all of the different imams and du'at, the masajid, the institutions, sign up for their Facebook pages, their Twitter accounts, their Instagram accounts, their YouTube channels. And now you actually get an idea of just the amazing amount of diversity that we have in Southern California when it comes to Muslims, when it comes to leadership. We tend to often stay within our circle because it's very familiar for us. But how often do we get to explore these other communities, especially when those other communities might be, you know, tens of miles away from here, right? 50 miles, 80 miles, nobody's gonna drives there on a regular basis. So now is a perfect opportunity because every masjid and every institution is putting on some type of content online or some type of recording or video or whatever in the month of Ramadan. So now is a great time. Instead of, we used to go masjid hopping to listen to Taraweeh in the different masajid. Now we can actually, from the comfort of our own home, go YouTube channel hopping and, you know, Facebook page hopping, and to check out what all the centers are doing, who the imams are, what are the programs that are going on. And so once, inshallah, may Allah bring it about swiftly, once this order of social distancing has been lifted, that we can actually go and visit these centers and institutions in person and to connect physically at that point, while now we are only forced to connect virtually. So I think to answer your question in a nutshell, community is in layers. And we have to make sure that as Muslims, we are addressing the different layers of the communities that we live in. The community at home, the community of our neighbors, and then the Muslim community as a whole. And everything can be done, alhamdulillah, these days from the comfort of our own homes. No need to go out for any of that. So without further elongating my response, just want to wish everybody listening Ramadan Mubarak. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you and accept from all of you and lift this pandemic and this crisis sooner rather than later to cure our sick and to have mercy on our deceased. Ameen. Jazakallah khair.
Well, thank you so much, Sheikh, for that amazing talk on the importance of community. And thank you for breaking it out into different layers as well. And then the other thing you suggested, how we can use, you know, technology and virtual media to, you know, kind of hop around and join different communities as well now. And it's as easy as that is. It's very important for us too, and it makes it much easier and more effective for others to be able to see what next door neighbors are doing. And I think that's one of the positive things and one of the greatest things that, that will inshallah come out of our community as we grow in doing the work that we are doing and the work that you guys are doing constantly for all of us. And you guys are at the forefront of doing great work. So thank you for that. Now, we want to change our focus, but we want to come to Sheikh Obair and have you talk about how can we continue to really stay optimistic and happy. I know there's two different things, but to simplify that, when nothing seems to be changing right around us, as we see with this pandemic, we see like the order is now extended, that it's showing that we have to stay even further till July, or even some people are saying throughout the year. If I'm not mistaken, Harvard did a study. I read up on it 2 days ago. They said that this pandemic can last till 2020. I'm sorry, 2022. It will last for another 2 years. The effect of it, but we'll see it. So how can we, with no good news being shared or no good news is on the horizon, how can we continue to stay optimistic and happy? Please share that.
Sure. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Nahmadu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem, amma ba'd. Jazakallah khair for allowing me to also chime in with you guys and give this reminder. The first thing I want to say is that, we as believers, we are fortunate because first and foremost, every affair and every incident that happens to us, the believer looks at the opportunity. The believer looks with the eyes of optimism, with hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First and foremost, we're in the month of mercy. This is the month of mercy in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives sins. His mercy descends, and every rakat that we're praying, every nafil that we pray is multiplied to to the amount of a fard. So this situation and everything that is going on in the recent time that we're thinking about, people are looking at the news and they're wondering what's going to happen now. As you said, the study and others have said that this could be like more than 18 months before we find a vaccine. And with all the news happening and all this, the numbers, looking at everything, you start to become hopeless. You start to worry. You start to get anxiety. And those are all things that are normal, especially if we're getting all of this news every single day. But the thing is, the believer looks at the situation very differently, right? The believer looks at every situation and every difficulty as an opportunity. A wise person once said very nicely that in every difficulty, the optimist looks at an opportunity. And the pessimist, in every opportunity, they look at difficulty. So it's also the way we look at in our mind frame. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Ajaban li amri al-mu'min," that how wonderful is the affair of the believer. That in everything that happens to his life, whether it's something good, if something good happens to him, he is grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is thankful. And if there is a situation where there's difficulty, he is patient, and that's good for him. So in every one of our affairs and every one of our happenings that we are facing, we are in good no matter what. And this is the way we have to look at. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says that if you're in a difficulty and you're in hardship, سَيَجْعَلُ اللَّهُ بَعْدَ أُسْرِ يُسْرًا, that for every hardship, it's going to be followed by ease. We are going through a little difficulty at this moment, but we have to look at it in a way that if we bear patient in this time, then inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make ease come from this. And there's a lot of good that can come out from this. It's the way that we have to think about it. But we have to take this thing seriously at the same time. Many people are, coming up with memes and jokes and all of this at this time. This is a real situation. People are being affected, and this is going to affect our future for sure. But we have to look at the situation that this is a moment for us to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a moment for us to get closer to Allah, to become more aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be conscious of Him. And if we do that, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that whoever is conscious of Allah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take him out from every difficulty. And from every place that we see that there is unease, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make a way out for us. So having those things in mind gives us hope. And if we look at the lives of the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba, we see that they were fountains of hope and looking towards the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every difficult situation. We know the incident of Rasulullah ﷺ and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu going on the migration, and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu to the point where he became so worried that, Ya Rasulullah, if these people were just to see us, then we'll be finished, we'll be killed. And what did Rasulullah ﷺ say? He said, La tahzan, inna Allah ma'ana. He said, don't worry. How could you worry when the third amongst the two is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us. And that's what the believers need to remind one another, that Allah is with us. And that this is all happening with the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is not happening outside the knowledge of Allah. Allah has already known this and everything that's going to come in the future. You know, there's a fear of the unknown. That's one of the big anxieties, that when you don't know what's going to happen next, we don't know what's going to happen in the following weeks or the months, that makes you more anxious. But the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us, that should make us feel at ease. And that Allah is giving us an opportunity to get closer to Him. And that this could be very much a blessing in disguise for us. And this is what we have to look at, that this is a blessing. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want from me at this time? Like this Ramadan is going to be so unique. People are saying we've never seen such a thing. We never had to even deal with such a thing before. But there could be so much khair and goodness that could come out from this if we look at it in the right way. And if we expect the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His hope and the reward from Allah, then inshallah we're going to see that after this is done, this would be such an amazing opportunity for us to become better people, to utilize our time in the best way, to learn more. This is a learning opportunity. This is a time where we learn with our family. Like Sheikh Jameel said, even if we are sitting together, whether it's reading Quran together, whether it's doing a hadith together, this is a time to be with those people whom deserve our time the most. That's our family. They deserve the most time from us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put like a stop to all of our busy activity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put a hold on it so that we can take this time and use it in the best way. And again, as the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned that with every difficulty there will be ease. With every hardship, ease will follow. We just have to be patient about it, and we have to understand that this is a learning opportunity. This is a tribulation, no doubt. This is a big test for us, but we have to be hopeful. And again, we have to give glad tidings. We have to look for the goodness in this. There's so much khair and goodness that will come out from this. We have to look at that khair. What are the benefits that I'm going to get doing this? One of the things that comes to mind, of course, we're not going to be together like in Ramadan as socially as we were, but let's look at the sincerity aspect of it. Then imagine how this will affect the sincerity of my actions, that I'm going to be doing whatever tarawih I can do. I'm going to be fasting. I'm going to be, giving sadaqah, all of the things I'm going to be giving, but I'm going to be doing it in a less, with not many people around. And then this is focusing on our sincerity with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I think this is a chance for us to increase in that sincerity, and a chance for us to increase in our knowledge. And all of those good things would come about if we look that this situation Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put for our betterment. There's a benefit in this for us, right? There's a benefit in this for us. And I want to conclude by saying that the Prophet ﷺ said, Bashiru wala tunafiru. Give glad tidings to people. Give them good news so that they may be happy. And don't scare the people, right? Don't scare the people. That doesn't mean we have to come out of the reality of all of this. But at the same time, there's a lot of good that's happening as well. We have to see that, right? Around the world, people are coming out. People are helping one another. So many people are being, kind to one another. The other day, we just heard the news that New York landlords are actually not taking rent this month. New York landlords, like I've lived in New Jersey. For them to do that, that's like an amazing thing. So people are coming out at this moment because of this situation. It's softening our hearts and it's changing the people's mindset. It's making people more, have mercy on others. So this is all good things, inshallah. If we think of it that way, and we have hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this could be one of our best Ramadans, inshallah, and the best time that we go through, if we have hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we see the khair in this, inshallah. So I just wanted to say a couple of those words. Jazakumullah khair.
Thank you so much, Sheikh Obair, for enlightening us, and by really stating in simple words, is in every bad situation, there's always good that comes about it. And I think as Muslims, that is something that we always follow, and we always are always hopeful and optimistic because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we always continuously strive to learn more. And thank you both for coming on and giving this message for this week's Friday community event. May Allah make it easy for all of us. May Allah make this Ramadan easy, joyful, helpful. Anybody who is looking to strive for a great, calm way of living in today's hard time. The month of Ramadan is a blessing month, and inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will hopefully fulfill our wishes and make this a more comforting and more easier Ramadan for all of us. Other than that, I wish you guys nothing but the best, and may Allah protect you and your families. Again, Ramadan Mubarak to both of you, and thank you so much for giving us the Community Friday message. And we want to thank you from the Islamic Shura Council of Southern California and Shura TV. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it. Looking forward to the next time.